Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a good day today. It's a fairly decent morning. We had some good movers. Um, I got 2 more days of being drugged up before I can, well, I'll declare myself well, but I still have to go back and they take some more pictures to make sure it's all cleared up. But I'm not really trading that much. I'm not putting a whole lot into it. I am doing my watch lists and finding the stocks and trying to help everybody out. But I did take a couple of trades today, and you could tell, or I can tell that I'm just in another world, so to speak. So we're gonna go over these two trades, and afterwards, I'm gonna share with you the first 15 minutes of the trader mindset psychology workshop that we had today, just to give you an excerpt of what we talk about. So that'll be after we do, or after I do the recap here of my day. So UAL, this one was a solid trade. I didn't put it on my watch list initially because it didn't have the volume I wanted to see early on, and it was over a billion share float. So I wanted to wait and kind of get a feel for what it was going to do, and it made a nice opening range breakdown, but the conference call wasn't until 10:30, which was kind of odd because normally when a stock reports earnings the night before, they'll either have a conference call then or first thing in the morning. They waited till 10:30, so I kind of held up on getting it. And once the call started, I was looking to see if it would spike up, and we got this little move here, but then that was it. So I felt comfortable shorting this. I really shouldn't have shorted it on support like I did, but at this time it looked really weak, and I felt if it was gonna push up, it would have done it already, because we're about 15 minutes into the call. But no dice. It kind of faked me out. It ran back up and rejected here at VWAP, which is what I was looking for over here. And by then I was just gone. I didn't stay engaged like I should have. My mind's all over the place. This medicine kind of makes you loopy, and I just felt loopy. So I missed this huge move here. The only good thing was I was kind of patient and waited for the clear rejection. I got in, took some off here when it hit the whole number, and once it bounced and recovered, I covered it, break even. Waited for it to roll over again. Got in it again. I had my order down here at 60, but it didn't fire, or it didn't trigger. I think it got down to 60.05, I think was the lowest it got. And then once we made a higher high here, I took half of it off, and once we claimed the 9 here, I went ahead and took it off. Plus I had to leave. I have to leave around 3 o'clock every day to go pick my son up, and I didn't. I learned my lesson about leaving trades on, while I'm gone. So didn't really get the move I wanted. And here we tried to get there. We got down to like 59.50s, which would have been my next target. But again, I was already out. So this was a nice, had some nice moves. But just being a space cadet, it's just hard to catch. And it's probably not smart to be trading that much. So I am taking it easy. But I am going to make sure I get well, because I do not want to have sinus surgery. That's not going to happen. Oh, also, I did get some feedback on, having the green numbers and how hard they were to read. So let me know if these numbers are easier for you to read. I changed it to yellow. So they seem to be easier for me to read. Alright, so the first stock I traded was UNIT. This one was watching it pre-market. It was just real choppy. So I never really got interested in trading it pre-market. But, once it opened, we made this first candle. And really I missed the entry on this, because I should have gotten in this candle. This is a 50-day from the daily, and it ran up. This would have been a perfect, cover spot, but then it pulled back, and this actually is the weakest bullish candle you can have. This, because at one point this was all green, and then it closed, very weak. But when this opened and it started pushing up, this candle was solid green too. So I got in, and I was looking for it to hit this level and then potentially break through. But as soon as I got in, it went up a couple cents, and then it started selling off. And once it loses the 5-minute opening range low, that means the trade plan should be dead. Well, this thing kind of held VWAP here, and so I gave it a chance, and I pulled my stop off, and the next thing I know, this thing tanked. So I had to, get out. And, I just kind of hung with this and ended up getting in. Had an order down here at 16. It didn't fire. We bounced back up. So when we rejected again, I added back, looking for us to get back down to at least this level. I could have taken profit here, but it didn't. And once it recovered, I went ahead and took it off for, a little bit of profit. And that was it. I wasn't gonna do much. I wasn't gonna stretch myself out, but I do want to stay in the market. I do want to stay engaged, and so that's kind of what I'm doing. So one more day of being in the market and on meds, and then Monday we'll be back strong. So looking forward to that. So just, if you want to, just hang around. I'm going to add the first 15 minutes or so of the day trading psychology workshop that I do. There are four meetings. They're about an hour and a half long that make up the workshop, and it's all about trying to get you to develop the right mindset and to be the person you need to be a solid trader. There are certain things that you have to develop, and if you never develop them, it's going to be very difficult for you to be profitable in this industry. So I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to email me, or send me a message on Skype, on Twitter, or Instagram. Everything is under Average Joe Trader, so it should be easy to find. So you guys enjoy and have a great rest of the evening and night, and we'll see you first thing in the morning. All right, welcome back everybody to the second presentation in the Trader's Mindset Workshop. And today we're going to be talking about how emotions can destroy a trader. And it's, emotions are needed. We can't just kill emotions or try to eliminate our emotions from our trading, because we're emotional beings, and if we use our emotions correctly, then it can be an asset versus a detriment. And the problem that comes in is that our emotions are wired so that they work against us when we try to trade. So we have to, kind of rewire our brains so that we can use the strengths that our emotions give us to help us be a better trader. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about here today. But first, we're going to review a little bit from what we talked about last week. We said a consistently successful trader knows that their success is not found in a box. It's it's not found in technology. A lot of traders spend a lot of money on the highest powered computer they could find. All of these electronic trading platforms and things that that's not going to help us be a better trader. It's more or less people looking for the short way out or the shortcut. And there really isn't a shortcut. No, the answer is in understanding and controlling your own emotions and taking responsibility for your own actions. That's what it's all about. We also know that losing is a part of the cost of doing business. We're gonna lose on trades. I don't care how good the setup is. It may not work. And that's what we have to accept. It's not that the strategy is bad. It's not that we're bad. It's the fact that there are going to be trades that start to set up and trigger an entry that all of a sudden turns around and goes the wrong way. And that's just the nature of our business. So we accept that. But how we handle those losses in our minds, that's going to determine whether we're going to be successful or not. So success in day trading, most of all, is a mastery of yourself. And that's why last week we talked about taking a look at yourself. Really taking an honest assessment of who you are and where you are and what you need to work on to be a good trader. Because a lot of times we're not the person that we need to be to get us where we want to be. We have these big goals. All of us have these high goals. And that's good. We've got to have those. But we can't have this ordinary average mindset. We have to be ready to work. We have to be ready to grind. And ready to get to know us and work on and develop the things that's going to help us be successful. Because in day trading, it's not us against the market like we feel it is. Or it's not us against these high frequency traders or the big fund traders. Success in trading is 100% us against ourselves. Every day it's a battle against ourselves to do the right thing, to make the right decisions, to stick to our rules. And I had that dilemma all week this week. I'm on some pretty powerful medication trying to clear up the sinus infection so I won't have to go under the knife. That's Nobody wants to have sinus surgery. It's pretty dangerous. I know I don't want to have it, but ideally, you don't want to take trades when you're under the influence of this medicine. So I have to take it when I get back home from taking my son to school, and I have to take it early enough so that I don't have to take another dose until after I pick him up, because you don't want to drive with this under the influence. And if you drive under the influence, your driving isn't that well. Your decision making isn't that well. You're a little bit more riskier. You're looser. You're ready to take more chances. And that's kind of what happens when you're on medication. So the fight this week has been me against myself. I'm telling myself you don't need to take trades, but I'm here, I'm in the room, and I end up taking trades. But we all have that battle, and that's the battle that wages within us, and that's what we have to win. That's the battle that we have to win every time if we're going to be successful. Now remember, this is how we look when we first start trading. All of these elements we know we got to have. We got to have the right tools. We got to have the right strategy. We got to have the right education. Risk management strategies, money management strategies, the capital. But, last week we started arranging these pieces, and we know that we have to be in the middle. No matter where these fall, we can interchange these. We have to be the center, not the cornerstone. We have to be the center. Everything has to be centered around us. And, we talked about the psychology is the glue that holds this puzzle together. If you make a puzzle and you want to keep it together and you want to put it in a frame, you put this clear glue called Mod Podge on it, and it holds it together. So when you pick it up, it doesn't fall apart. That's what psychology is to us as traders. Once we put ourselves together, that psychology, if we have a strong, solid mind, it's going to keep us together. So that if we have to pick up and move this place or that place, we're not going to fall apart. So think about this for a second. What's the most destructive emotion you feel while you're trading? You have to identify this for yourself. What's the most destructive emotion that you feel while you're trading in the market? That's one thing that you have to identify, because that's the one, that you're going to have to attack first. You're going to have to deal with that emotion first, because if you start dealing with everything else, the one that's the most destructive is going to continue to gain strength, because you're going to take strength away from the emotions you're working with, and you're going to put it all on the one that's the most destructive, and you don't want to do that. So yeah, some of you say fear of missing out, fear of losing, greed. Yeah, all of these are good, and all of these are emotions that we have to deal with, in our trading. But the thing is, it's always going to come back. We need to make sure we have a process in place to deal with this emotion when it surfaces again. It'll come while you're the weakest. At the worst time, it might surface. David says indecision. Yep. Definitely. So for me, the most destructive emotion I had was fear. It was fear of losing money. And that's what kept me from taking trades in the beginning. I learned the strategies. I knew exactly. I could look at a chart and I could tell you where the entry is, where the exit is, where my stop should be, everything. That was the easy part. It didn't take a long time to learn that. The hard part was executing the trade. And what we talked about yesterday in the webinar, that was one of the big elements that I was missing, which was the reason why I was scared to take a trade. I didn't have a plan at the beginning of a trade. I could look at a chart and tell you what strategy this was, what strategy that was. I could identify a flag. I could identify, a triangle. I could all of that stuff. But I couldn't trade worth a damn because I was scared that I was going to lose. I hadn't accepted the fact that losing is a part of this whole equation. So I'm going to ask you some questions. So you think about these. Do you feel anxious and stressed out when you trade? Are you concentrating more, but you're still losing on your trades? Do you feel tight and wound up at the end of a trading day? Like you're just so beat up, you just, have to grab a drink and just melt into the couch? Does the market feel like a hostile place to you? Are you failing to execute trades when you see them set up for you? Or here's a big one. Are you constantly moving from strategy to strategy, trying to find that holy grail setup? And you just keep going in circles, ending up where you started and then going around again and around again. If you answered yes to any one of these questions, you have an issue with your emotions. And this, workshop should be exactly what you need. This is, some people answer yes to all of these. And, you're really in trouble if you answer yes to everything. You really have a lot of work to do. This is the number one reason that people who come in and try to day trade or swing trade lose money or fail. This is the main reason. It's their inability to execute, which is brought about by not addressing the psychological problems and issues that you're going to face when you start trading. Even when you're trading in a simulator, you're going to face the same emotions. They're going to be more pronounced when you trade live. When you're trading your real money, they're going to be more pronounced. But when you're trading in a simulator, nobody wants to lose. So, you're going to be anxious and stressed out if you don't want to lose. And that just gets compounded when you bring money into the equation. So you have to deal and work with the psychological part. I think anybody can learn how to read a chart. Anybody can learn how to identify setups. That's not hard to do. But everybody can't execute. Everybody can't develop the right mindset or know how to develop the right mindset without somebody helping them or guiding them. And this is one of the things that I realized early on when I couldn't really get out of my own way. Being a teacher, I had to go through all of these psychology courses and professional development. I've got enough hours to have an advanced degree in psychology. That's how many graduate courses I had to take. But all of that really helped me to see what my problem was in trading. One day I was just sitting there in class and it clicked. And I knew where the disconnect was. So then I was able to start, putting these pieces of the puzzle together. So in day trading, it's immediately obvious, painfully obvious. Your emotions can be your worst enemy. Or they are your worst enemy. Your worst enemy in trading. Not can be, they are. The control of feelings or emotions, it should be the primary focus of your day trading. And like I said, I don't believe in eliminating emotion. Because if you do, then you go down another slippery slope. You need your emotions to help protect you and to keep you safe. But they have to be programmed so that they work for you as a trader. And that's what we're talking about today. Because one thing if you're in tune with yourself, when your feelings or your emotions are creeping in and are starting to affect your decision-making process. You can feel it. If you can't, then that's something that you're going to have to work on, going forward. Because in order for you to be successful, you're going to have to be able to identify when you are starting to lose control so that you can stop what you're doing, bring yourself back in. And whatever process that you have in place to get you back on track, you do that. Because you guys know, if I have a loss, like today on UAL this morning, the stock did exactly what I wanted it to do. But it started setting up. It rejected off the 9. It triggered. It confirmed. I got in. It went down a little bit. And then it went all the way back up the VWAP and rejected. And made the huge move we were looking for. When something like that happens, it's like, you can feel good that the stock did what you wanted it to do. Your timing just might have been off. But at that moment, you're hot. Okay? You may be hot. So for me, I know when I start to feel that, I need to go walk around. Hop on my bike and ride around a couple of blocks. Or go outside and mess with my dogs. I need to do something to clear my mind and calm me down so I can come back and focus. Because if not, you're going to continue to dig a hole for yourself. And that's not what you want to do. So emotions, they're like these squeaky little voices in your head. They're the part of you that freaks out at uncertainty. But day trading is all about uncertainty, right? That's everything we do is uncertain. We have a good trade plan. We have a good strategy. We know it's going to work 70% of the time. But we don't know when that 70% is. We don't have a clue. So we don't know. We may have 10 losing trades in a row before we have, 40 winners. We just don't know. So that presents a problem. But we have to deal with it proactively. We have to develop a strong defense against our own primitive reactions, because we're geared to react a certain way, but we're going to respond. Let's see. The best thing I could think of is a fight or flight mentality. Okay, when we were in the Army, they broke us down. Their job, the drill sergeant's job, was to break us down and build us back up so that we had the right mentality to go into war. Okay, because most people, when they approach danger, when somebody's shooting at you, you're going to run. That's going to be your natural fear. It's not going to be to charge at them without fear, trying to shoot them too. You know, that's not our natural reaction. So we were broken down, we were built back up, and we were, you know, we became the soldier that we needed to be, so that we would have the best chance of surviving and not getting ourselves and our whole unit killed. Now, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in basic training, we went through different phases. So this one day we were doing NBC training. So they were telling you how to drop and cover yourself if there was an explosion that could have potentially been nuclear or chemical or whatever. And so, we practiced dropping all day, and, they would just call out and we would drop wherever we are. So they had this big pit out there, this big cement pit. And without warning, without notice, they set off a charge in it. And we were supposed to drop, just like what they've been telling us all day. Well, I didn't drop. Me and my weapon took off running through the woods here at Fort Jackson. And there's miles and miles of woods out here. Do you know they had the base shut down for like 45 minutes until they found me? And the only reason they told me they found me, that they came looking for me, was because I had my weapon. They said if I didn't have my weapon, they would have just let me keep going. But that, I remember that vividly, because afterwards I was sitting there in front of my XO, our first sergeant, our senior field leader, and my drill instructor, and they were just sitting there shaking their heads. I mean, they were laughing because it was funny, but then it wasn't funny. And, that's when they kind of explained to me, we're trying to get you not to react that way. That's why we do what we do and all of that. So, in trading, we have these emotions that's going to cause us to do things that we shouldn't be doing, and that's going to cause us problems. So here, we got to break ourselves down, analyze what's going on inside of us, and manage it. And everybody is going to be different. Everybody, it is, they're going to have different issues to deal with. Everybody's not cut from the same mold.